be an afterthought. You cannot say this is about students while ignoring how they will safely get to their schools. I said from the beginning that the state's takeover stripped parents and voters of their voice. And this moment shows us why that matters. Closing neighborhood schools without real public engagement disrupts families, weakens communities, and betrays the public trust. So I'm asking you, please, what is the rush? Can we just slow down a little bit, open up the process, and give our families, our teachers, our educators, our stakeholders, and yes, even our children, a say on how and when and where disclosure should occur. Let's make sure that those that are directly impacted have real input. Give them real choices, and please take their concerns seriously. If the goal is to help students succeed, the path forward starts with listening to the people who know them best. And that's the children, the parents, teachers, and stakeholders. Thank you, and I urge you again to please pause. You won't be able to implement this until pause this, get input, and rework whatever needs to be done. But I urge you, as a former judge who always believed in giving people the right to be heard, give parents and teachers a right to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Congressman Christian Menefee. Welcome.
Hey, good evening. Congressman Christian Menefee, very happy to be here. I'm here to ask y'all to delay this vote today. There is nothing more important than when you're closing down a public school that a community relies on. And so many of these communities, this is the only safe haven for these students, and it matters so much to these parents. This is about giving kids the opportunity to be successful educationally, to go off and be able to do better things, but the disruption that you can bring to their lives if you close down a school is an incredibly big deal, and it's a decision that should not be taken lightly. Look, I know that there's been a couple of weeks of public hearings and there have been some conversations, but something of this magnitude requires so much more than that. When I was the Harris County attorney and we were making a decision that could result in the closing of something public, weeks, months of conversations with the public so that they felt heard, so that the conversations were real, and when they were expressing their issues, their doubts, that they were being responded to, it was being seriously considered, and that it was injected into the decision-making process. I think what I've heard from many folks about this process is that it seems superficial, is that it's felt rushed, and as Congresswoman just mentioned, this isn't going to happen for about a year anyway, so there's really no reason to push it through this quickly. I'm here today to ask y'all to please delay this, give the folks who live in these communities the opportunity to have their voice heard. And, you know, I'll close with, look, we all know that the takeover has not been very popular amongst the people who live in our communities. And part of the thing about a democratic form of government is people have the opportunity to come, to talk their stuff, to have their opinion heard, and the elected officials have to consider there are consequences on the other side. When that's stripped out of the process by the state of Texas, it doesn't mean that y'all have to strip it out of the process when you're making a decision like this. So my ask to y'all is that you delay. Let's continue the spirit of our democracy, which is allowing folks to have a fair opportunity to be heard in a real meaningful way. Delay this vote and let them have a true conversation with you all about their feelings about closing down these schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have, I believe, State Senator Carol Alvarado. Did I see Carol here? Is she here yet? Okay, well, we'll just we'll wait until she gets here. Next, then, would be State Senator Molly Cook.
Hi, my name is Sierra Williams. I'm the community liaison for Texas State Senator Molly Cook. I'm delivering this comment on behalf of our office since she is currently working at the hospital. Senator Cook gave comment to this board just 2 weeks ago about the importance of transparency. Shortly after her comment, this board announced that HISD will be closing and co-locating 12 schools throughout the district. Two of the affected schools are in Senate District 15. Boris Elementary School, which will be closed and consolidated into Kennedy Elementary, and Pleasantville Elementary School, which will have Port Houston Elementary School consolidated into it. These closures happen without transparency or proper notice to parents. Our office has heard from multiple affected parents who are upset and confused. The closure of this school is deeply personal, and rushing the process has robbed our constituents of time to process. This is why Senator Cook joined with Senator Alvarado and Senator Miles this week to send a letter urging you to delay this week's vote so that our constituents have the time to understand this proposal. In closing, I walked the halls of Boris Elementary and Kennedy Elementary as a student, and now I have earned my bachelor's degree from HBCU, and now earning my master's. Academical is generational.
Thank you. Next up is State Representative Charlene Ward Johnson.
Members of the board, I am Representative Charlene Ward Johnson, and I proudly serve House District 139. I come before the board today to oppose proposed campus closures and to discuss the closure of Burris Elementary specifically. Burris Elementary sits in House District 139 in the historical Independent Heights neighborhood. Independent Heights community began around 1905, where black families purchased lots and built their own homes. A two-room school was established in 1911. Independent Heights became the first African-American municipality in Texas when it was incorporated on January 25, 1915. Burris Elementary was created in 1911 to serve black students in the area. Burris Elementary has maintained the status of an A-rated campus and produced outstanding graduates, and you thank it by closing it. You reward it by closing it. In 2020, the Independent Heights community experienced success when the Texas Historical Commission formally recognized the cultural and Furthermore, voting to close the historic Burris Elementary, a long-standing pillar of that community, in a month that would be, not in any month would be bad, but to close it during Black History Month is a slap in the face and a direct attack on the black community. Doing so erases our history and displaces families in my district. I urge you to vote no, to oppose, and to say we want to listen to the community first and vote no to close these schools. We want to be able to have a voice. We want to be able to have our voices heard, and a vote no will show that you put the people first. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is State Senator Carol Alvarado. Welcome.
Okay, 1 minute.
We give deference to public officials.
Okay.
So you don't have 1 minute.
Thanks. Thank y'all very much, and a special thanks to the parents and community folks that are here. In 2011, let me just take you a little bit back in time. In 2011, the state budget forced cuts to HISD. At that time, 4 schools were closed. Those were 4 elementary schools. And during that time, the financial outlook was very dire. And even still, that board, which was elected, weighed their options for months before deciding to close 4 schools. Fast forward, here we are. This board is scheduled to vote on closing 12 in a very short time. Half of these 12 are in my Senate district. HISD families have been given only 2 weeks to absorb this news, ask questions, and prepare their children for the transition. Important details such as how children will be bused and where faculty and staff will be placed are still up in the air. I was at the meeting at Cage last night, and I have to say, there was just a very short opportunity for the parents to ask questions. They stopped it, and there were maybe 3 people that still had their hands up. And they shut it down and asked everybody to pick a subject to go to. I don't know why they just didn't let those few folks ask their questions. This is the latest in a pattern of policy making designed to minimize input from the public. It has the unintended consequences of minimizing the public's trust in the district. We recognize that HISD faces real challenges. We get that. We know that. We're all in this together. We want to be partners in tackling those tough issues. Decisions this scale demand transparency, deliberation, and genuine community input. My ask today is that this board, at a very minimum, delay this vote. Go to the parents, the students, teachers of these campuses. Make your case. Make sure that they are truly and fully informed. Take their feedback seriously. Move forward only after you've done the work to be accountable to the people that you serve. We recognize that the district is in an impossible position. Let's also recognize the fact that per pupil spending in Texas still ranks among the lowest nationally. Governor Abbott's school voucher program is siphoning even more dollars out of the public education system. Enrollment is declining and facilities are aging. This district has a credibility and trust issue. It has for some time. And it was very evident during the 2024 bond program. Parents, teachers, community members are all up in arms about the school closures because of the lack of accountability. Even though HISD is not on the ballot, voters are going to the polls very shortly, or they have, and in November, and will overwhelmingly vote for candidates who want to take back control of their schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, we have State Representative Lauren Ashley Simmons. State Rep here. Okay. Okay, next we have here from HISD elected trustees, Dr. Maria Benzon.
We all want thriving schools. That begins with trust, with transparency, with careful stewardship of taxpayer dollars. School closures may be necessary in a district facing declining enrollment or when the cost of renovating and updating aging facilities becomes unsustainable. I understood that when I ran for trustee. These are hard decisions, serious decisions, community-shaping decisions, but they cannot be rushed. They cannot come with 2 weeks' notice. They cannot move forward without authentic engagement with the families whose lives will be disrupted. Right now, many parents feel unheard. Many teachers feel dismissed. That erosion of trust makes every future decision harder, including a bond the district will eventually need. As the duly elected trustee for District 5, I stand ready to do this work, to listen to families, to weigh the data carefully, to ensure that fiscal responsibility and student well-being move together. Local accountability matters. Community voice matters. Tonight, I respectfully ask you, do not move these closures through the consent agenda. Slow down. Open the dialogue. Let the community be part of the decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is Trustee Gomez.
urge you all to vote no on this plan to close schools and force the superintendent to engage with us before submitting another one. Community engagement to some might sound like pablum, but it means getting local knowledge on railroad crossings and pathways to school. It could mean partnering with local and state government to get funding for sidewalks or grade reductions at railroads if school closures create that need. It could mean making a deal with Union Pacific about their train schedule. Or if you're feeling really bold and courageous, it could mean asking parents why NES schools have declined in enrollment faster than other schools. If you vote to approve this plan on 2 weeks' notice with no community input, I ask respectfully, what do you think is the point in even having a board? Because I was under the impression that it was to represent the vision and values of this community. But maybe I'm wrong, right? And maybe you've completely given up on the idea that productive conversation is even possible. I have not given up. For that reason, I urge you to vote no, or at a minimum, delay this vote, give us the opportunity to talk about a very consequential decision to close 12 schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next, Trustee McDonough.
Good evening. The other person is always right. Right about their feelings, their fears, and the experiences they carry with them. If we want actual communication, we must first travel to that place of right, because without that step, trust is impossible. Currently, the continued practice of viewing the community as an adversary or a nuisance to be endured will not leave this organization better than you found it. Strictly choosing data over dignity, efficiency over empathy, and paternalism over partnership will not get us there. As the elected trustee for District 6, I default to optimism. I am eager to work alongside you so that we can ensure the district is in prime condition to serve the families of our city. This is complex work. Tough decisions and meaningful community involvement are not mutually exclusive. They can and should happen together. Yes, that process takes longer. Yes, it is harder, but it consistently leads to better decisions. Education is personal. Everyone has their own K-12 experience and believes they understand what is needed. And for those with experience serving on boards or making high-level decisions, it can feel straightforward. But this is not abstract work. This is the human element inside a massive organization. It is complicated, it is emotional, and it deserves respect. Respect means slowing down, answering hard questions, engaging those most impacted, and pushing always for the benefit of the true users of this system, our children and their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have Trustee Savant Moore here? I didn't see him. Okay, how about Trustee Donnie Hernandez?
Good evening and buenas noches. My name is Dani Hernandez. I am the elected trustee for District 3 in HISD. I am here to ask you to at least delay the vote, if not vote no, to closing the 12 public schools. We all understand that enrollment has gone down in HISD. We understand that public schools need to close in order for HISD to move forward. However, the manner in which HISD is proposing for you, the Board of Managers, to close these schools is not okay. The Lone Star Governance asks you to do community engagement. Lone Star Governance, which is part of the exit criteria, requires you to go out to the community for not just closing schools, but for multiple things. That was not done for this process, and it is not okay to go out and not be transparent for the community and ask for the community to not want their schools. This violates basic public trust and transparency. We know 8 years ago the LBB told us to close schools. Communities need to be heard when closing schools, and there needs to be a process. HISD's own policy for charter schools says that The community needs to be notified by October 31st. That didn't happen with HISD's own proper schools, and I can't fathom why HISD would not want to give that same courtesy for HISD parents and community. And if you're thinking, oh, we had community meetings at the schools that are closing, guess what? Those were not community meetings. I went to one. Not only was I denied entrance to the community meeting and had to make calls to get in, my child is supposed to be attending that school in August. Those were not community meetings. Those were meetings for parents and legal guardians. So that cannot be said as, hey, we checked the box because we had meetings. Those were not community meetings. That was informational meetings only for parents. And again, this is not about closing schools in general. We know that HISD needs to close schools. The process is what needs to change. The process is what needs to be ramped up. There's lots of research on what other districts have done in order to close schools and go out to the community. Look those up. They're out there. Other districts have closed schools and done it in the right way. We hope that you can do that as well. Even though that you're not elected, you're still representing us. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Next will be former State Representative Jarvis Johnson.
How many of you have children in any of these schools that are being proposed to close? Cousins, grandchildren, or even close personal friends. When you don't have empathy and you don't feel what the people feel, you can't make decisions that's in the best interest of the people. I've always said that you can't fix a problem with the same mindset that created it. The state takeover scheme was devised by Governor Abbott to use children as pieces on the board of his political chess game. Governor Abbott used the old Republican tactic of manufacturing a problem to sell to his base that HISD, which was a B+ rated school, had major problems. But now the issue falls squarely on your shoulders. You're wanting to close schools because of low enrollment as the city of Houston's population swells. Make that make sense. But you're saying that this is a business decision and is losing money, and you haven't addressed why the district has lost a net 13,000 students, the equivalent of what is considered a large district in the state of Texas, since the illegal state takeover. Parents are making a conscious decision to leave the district because they have lost confidence in the ability to educate their children. Other ISDs and charter schools are happy because their enrollment is swelling while HISD is declining. Is that by design? Since you're acting like children are dollar signs and not students that are looking for nurturing environments to learn, what are you doing to bring them back? What confidence are you giving the parents that their children are in nurturing learning environments so they can grow? What magnet programs have you put in place to attract parents and students back to these schools? What have you done to ensure that the students are happy learners and enjoy coming to school? What have you done for parents to ensure that they're confident that their voices are being heard? What have you done to stop the hemorrhaging of qualified, experienced teachers from leaving and replacing them with inexperienced ones that are only loyal to you through fear and not through the love of teaching? Closing schools is not the answer. Changing your authoritarian way is. None of you are accountable to the people because none of you were elected. But I must remind you and remember that the pendulum of politics will swing back to democracy, and you will no longer be on this board, but you still will have to live and do business in this city. And you will be remembered for the harm that you have done to these communities. So let's remember, taxation without representation will not be accepted. So I'm urging you to vote no on any school closures at this particular time. Our children are not dollar signs, they're students, and they need nurturing environments to learn, not simply looking at them as dollar signs. Bring the students back that you lost, bring the teachers back that you lost, and watch the parents and the children come back to our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from speakers who have identified themselves as HISD students or parents. Speakers, please state your name and your topic. And when you step up to the microphone, Ms. Smith, you may call our first set of speakers.
Could I ask all students and parents to move to the front 2 rows, please? We'll start with Naya Dewart, followed by Ella Taylor.
Hi, my name is Naya and I'm 10 years old. I would be so angry if they closed my school without talking to my parents. Mike Miles, you even refused to come talk to the city and city council about this. Why? And now the plan is to close 12 schools that are being voted today, and we have no say. That feels like you're rushing this through. Why are you rushing? You are having fake community meetings for 35 minutes where you tell us your plan, but you don't listen to us. You have made your decision alone, and that is unfair. We speak to you at every meeting, but you don't seem to care. Why won't you listen to us?
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ella Taylor. I'm speaking for a mom from Port Houston, Reina Giron. This speech was originally in Spanish. She's hurt and angry because the district has not been clear or honest with her community. Port Houston School is the heart of our neighborhood. It is a safe space for our children and for parents like us. It is the only public building in our community. At Port Houston, teachers know our kids and care for them. Our children are supported and helped every day. And we see them grow in school and as people, but they learn so much more before the takeover. This decision is very serious. It affects our children in every part of their lives, and it was made without listening to us. We were not asked, we were not included. We deserve respect, we deserve answers, and our children deserve to keep their school.
Thank you.
If there are no other student speakers here, we'll move on to number 1, Eddie Brito. Parents.
You said you wanted high-performing schools, yet you give them to the private sector. You liar. You say students are progressing, but your data only focuses on the median students across small samples. You liar. You say SPED and transportation are getting better, but my personal experiences would beg to differ. You liar. You tout AI future schools as the best, but can't provide effective cybersecurity for laptops. You liar. You call engaged parents unprofessional conspiracy theorists, but now you have the professionals calling you out on our behalf, and you hide. You liar. You are the reason for enrollment declines. Your biggest claim, zip code is no longer a child's destiny. Closing these schools goes against that. You liar.
Thank you. Up next is Trustee Savant Moore. So go ahead. Thank you.
Good evening. My mother is 79 years old. She told me to ignore those that ignore you. But I'm going to do something better. I'm going to forgive you. I offer everyone on this board a free Airbnb for a week. I want you to take the same bike path that my daughter takes to a HISD school, and the train blocks her. And yet there's district policy where my daughter is marked absence, even though this corporation knows that she goes to this school every morning, Monday through Friday. My own cousin should not be texting me that she has a special education grievance since September 2025. And see, it's special because this cousin I met through Ancestry.com because I've never met my biological family. And yet my first time my experience with my biological family is this district hurting them. 40 years, I still have not met my biological mother. And so my first experience with the blood that runs in my vein is this district hurting them. They elect officials because we live in our district. So it's always interesting to me that people on this dais are making decisions for Northeast Houston and you don't live in Northeast Houston. Lastly, we know that these schools are gotta close. We know that we need the bond. What I'm asking respectfully, if you are in real estate, abstain from this vote because the optics just do not look right. They don't look right. So respectfully, abstain from the vote today. And to every voter, vote so that this never happens again and that we fight for public education. Now let me go win this state race. God bless you.
Thank you.
Laura Henry. Speaker 2, Laura Henry.
I'm Laura Henry, speaking on behalf of Mary Lou Carmona, a Port Houston mom. This speech was hers originally in Spanish. I have been living in this community of Port Houston for 20 years. I am one of the moms who 16 years ago walked with her son to school in summer and winter. But this was not an obstacle to educating my son when I had a school near my house. I did not have a vehicle, but if my son or his teacher needed me, I could be there in 5 minutes. I have been a volunteer since I enrolled my son in school because we are people of values that like to serve. This community cannot stay without a school. Do not marginalize these families anymore. We are low income but hardworking, honest, good citizens who pay fees and taxes. Mr. Miles, do not let us be deleted from the map. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deseo que Dios toque.
Thank you.
My name is Vianney Torres. I am a parent of two Port Houston elementary students. And I just wanted to say, as you may know, Port Houston is a B-rated school. Y'all are wanting to transfer our students to Pleasantville, which will be a C-rated school. That's a huge, great difference. And unfortunately, we did a walk from Port Houston Elementary to Pleasantville. In that walk, we recorded the walk over there. It's very unsafe. There's loose dogs. It takes about 30 minutes to walk over there. With children, it would take more. Our school is improving. We are a B school. Do not move us to Pleasantville.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cindy Cura. I'm here representing Port Houston as a mom. So we have many Hispanic community in our area. Our children, they walk every day to school, like they mentioned it. We did a walk for 30 minutes. It's in a safety area. So there's not gonna be a 24/7 transportation. What about when our kids get sick? Who's gonna take us? Is the transportation gonna take us? Is the school's gonna take us? Are they gonna be waiting for us to pick up our kids? No. So we're gonna have to walk on extremely heat, raining days that is gonna take us 30 minutes to walk and 30 minutes to come back. And the question is, do y'all really think the problem is the HISD or the closures? No, I honestly, and with all the respect, Mr. Miles, I think honestly the problem is you, because you're not considering the families, the kids, and everybody. So if I were you, I would consider it.
Thank you.
Standing with Elizabeth Silva, a mom from Port Houston, and I'm speaking on behalf of another parent who wasn't able to come. We were told our school would close because it's in a poor condition, but why? We pay our school fees, yet the district hasn't maintained it. We were also told enrollment is low, but as a volunteer, I know we were just 2 to 3 students below our target. We were told children should go to Pleasantville, which has a lower rating and a bullying problem, and that only kids more than 2 miles away would get transportation. But the walking route is dangerous for those closer: fast cars, incomplete sidewalks, and stray dogs. Port Houston is not just a school that teaches math, reading, science. It is a community and second home. It is a school that is teaching our children principles like self-love and respect. Mr. Miles, closing a school that is full of value and wisdom is never a good thing. And Angela, What would happen at Kincaid if you tried to close that school down and gave them 2 weeks' notice?
Thank you.
Members, my name is Daisy. I am a parent, community member, and a proud alumna of Port Houston Elementary. I am asking you to reconsider the proposed closure of our school. We were told enrollment was short by 2 students. Mind y'all, 2 students. How does missing a target by 2 children justify closing an entire campus? We were also told the building is only utilized by 64%. But when you walk our halls, classrooms are full, teachers are teaching, and students are learning. I invite y'all to walk those classroom halls. How was that number calculated? Was it verified in person? Our school is rated a B. Our students are achieving. Our teachers are committed. Before recommending closure, what specific support did HISD provide? Was there a target improvement plan, additional funding, enrollment outreach? Our children are not numbers on a spreadsheet. And then there's safety. We walked the route our children will be expected to take for the other campus. It took us 30 minutes. You expect a child to walk 30 minutes? We're just asking for transparency at this point.
Thank you.
Last week at the invite-only Destination Transformation Conference, Alex Elizondo described the idea that community input leads to buy-in as a fairy tale. It was not said in a room where the communities being discussed were present. Tonight, you are voting to close or displace 12 schools. 10 of those 12 are NES campuses, the superintendent's signature transformation model. NES campuses are down about 20% in enrollment compared to 11% in non-NES schools. Is this the destination you're looking for? Is this the transformation? Consider that the real fairy tale is believing you can dismiss community input and expect communities to stay. I know you've been told that you are here to do the hard things an elected board can't or won't do. The hard thing is to grapple with the impacts of the decisions you're making. It's to sit at the table with the people living them. Delay this vote and go.
Thank you. Up next, hang on one second. We have a state representative that has come. So State Representative Penny Morales-Shaw is here. So welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Mr. Campos. First, I just want to recognize you, each of you. I know you have a difficult task of being here and carrying out Abbott and Murat's orders, and especially hurting your own fellow Houstonians and kids and dedicated educators by the decisions that are made by this board. You're here allegedly, each of you, not because we chose for you to be here, but because you allegedly are going to save HISD. It's truly sad to see, with all of the great minds here, that this is the only tool you have to improve HISD, to close doors and hurt more families and teachers. Let me ask you, did you survey the parents? Did you survey the teachers? Did you bother to survey the administrators of these schools? You don't have to answer that because they've already called me. Before this takeover, HISD was a B+ school district, and since the takeover, we've only seen one bad decision after another. We've seen parents ignored repeatedly, teachers run away from their schools and their students, thousands of them, and students unhappy and dissatisfied and having to adjust to a robotic schedule, hallway rules, and classrooms. Members, we went to these schools. Well, maybe not you, Mike, but the rest of us went to these schools. And we simply want the same benefit and advantage that we had in the security and safety of our schools. That's all we're asking for. We want our children and our families and our neighbors to have stability in their communities. We all know the many obstacles that families are facing now with limited healthcare access, all sorts of things, housing obstacles, affordability. There's so many more that everyone's having to deal with. And this is just, you are just creating one more obstacle to disrupt the security of each of these families and the teachers who work in these schools. Please know that that's what this decision will cause. We implore you to do what you claim to be here to do, to make HISD better, serve our teachers, serve our students, serve the administrators, the janitors, all of them, not by taking away schools and deleting more valuable student programs, but rather in a way that is meaningful and supportive of your own neighbors. I'm not here to ask you to delay this. I'm asking you to take it off the table completely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Student Aubrey Barr, followed by parents in Group A.
Good afternoon. My name is Aubrey Barr. I'm an HISD student and a big sister to a 5-year-old boy with autism who attends Betsy Ross Elementary. I need you to understand something before you make this decision. For children with autism, stability is not a preference, it's survival. My brother started there at 3 years old in special education pre-K. He struggled to communicate, he struggled with change. Some days were overwhelming for him, but his teachers didn't treat him like a problem to manage. They learned him, they learned what calmed him, they built trust with him. And trust for a child with autism is not easy. It takes time, it takes patience, and it takes consistency. Because of that stability, he is now in general education. He has friends, he feels safe, he is proud of himself. That didn't happen because of a building, it happened because of a support system that knows him. And now you're considering tearing that apart over attendance numbers. So I have to ask you, when you calculated enrollment percentages, did you calculate the cost of When you close a school serving special education students, you are not reassigning them, you are destabilizing them. You are asking children who struggle with changes to absorb the biggest challenge possible. My brother is not a statistic, he is not an efficiency problem, he is a child who finally feels secure in his learning environment. Autistic students do not need disruption, they need protection. Please make a decision that sacrifices their stability for numbers instead of numbers on a page.
Thank you.
We're ready to hear from HISD parents on Zoom. Audrey Neff. We're moving to Zoom for HISD parents. Audrey Neff, please turn your camera on.
Hello, I am Audrey Neff, the parent of 2 students at HISD, and I am speaking out against the 12 school closures. I'm very concerned that by increasing those distances that these children have to walk, they are having to cross some very dangerous roadways and even railroad tracks in order to get to school. And I'm disappointed that there was just a complete lack of transparency in letting the community know about these closures. Please reconsider. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Kelsey Ennis, please turn your camera on. You may begin speaking.
Oh. Is Audrey speaking?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kelsey. I'm a parent of 2 students at Lanthrop Elementary. The first communication that we had with the district about our co-location with Cage was at a school meeting yesterday evening. I had to sign up to speak here before noon yesterday, before that meeting happened, and now you're supposed to vote on the final decision. The speed of this is alarming, it is suspicious, and is what you do when you are doing something shady. Now, we didn't vote for you on the board.
You may begin speaking.
We didn't vote for you on the board, but you are successful, respected people, and I'm here as a parent appealing to your sense of pride. Your reputation says you're capable of better work than this, and I'm appealing to your sense of shame because it is not right to treat children in communities like this. And Board of Managers, if you don't have pride or shame, I would like to appeal to your sense of self-preservation. You took this role on because you have further ambitions, whether they're political, business, or civic. And we, the parents of HISD and the citizens of Houston, will remember if
Thank
you
you.
rubber stamp this match. We will rightfully
Thank
take
you.
into
Your time
reflection
is
of your
up.
character, ensure that it follows you. Do the right thing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes our Group A speakers.
Is that it? Okay, we have a presentation from the administration. Superintendent Miles, you have the floor. And I'll remind the audience that you'll get one warning, then you'll be asked to leave after that. So there's a presentation being made. There's a lot of people online and people in the audience that need to hear this. So please respect our rules. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to invite Deputy Superintendent Kristen Holt to provide a brief update on Item 1, authorization to explore a partnership with Collaborative for Children. Deputy Superintendent Holt.
Hello, board members. This is a brief overview of the 1882 partnerships for pre-K. It's an overview of what an 1882 partnership is and why we are pursuing it. One second. Sorry, it was stuck on the side. Okay, so the goal of our 1882 pre-K partnerships is to expand high-quality pre-K opportunities for our 3- and 4-year-old students so that more students are entering into kindergarten with a strong start. The way a pre-K 1882 partnership works, give it a second. We can try one more time. It's okay, just look at it. I can still speak to it. So the way a pre-1882 partnership works is HISD will enter into a contractual agreement with a hub partner. You can think about this as a nonprofit entity that exists, in this case, Collaborative for Kids. That hub partner can go and enter into agreements with non-HISD schools that serve pre-K students. So you can think about this as maybe a daycare that has small babies but also serves pre-K. And so they can go to those non-HISD schools and dual enroll them in HISD pre-K while they remain at that school. When you enter into an 1882 partnership, we can provide additional funding to those non-HISD schools to support their pre-K program. And so typically, when we've looked at some example contracts across other districts and across the state, it might look something like we receive a set of money from the state for 1882, 80% of that might go to the non-HISD school to support pre-K at their school, 10% might go to the hub partner, and 10% might go to HISD to support administration, because you still have to do a set of things around attendance and a number of other administrative things. So when we enter into these agreements, if you go to the next slide back there, there's a couple big benefits for all of the parties that are involved. First is increased funding. So these non-HISD schools, these community schools, get additional funding to support their existing programs. When we are thinking about these partnerships, the non-HISD schools are still operating pre-K. It's their teachers, it's their building, it's their facilities. This just gives them additional support and funding to improve their programming. The second thing that it does is it improves instructional outcomes for those students. So we can both provide additional support to those organizations, whether that be curriculum, training, assessment supports, and ensure that those students who are at those institutions, pre-K students, are getting stronger instruction prior to coming to kindergarten at HISD. And finally, it just allows us to engage HISD families earlier and help ensure that they know what their options are across HISD as they transition into pre-K. And so the board item today is focused on allowing us to start contract negotiations with this hub partner. And then the next step would be to come with a contract prior to the March board meeting to enter into this hub partnership. But overall, the hope really is truly to support more pre-K students across the city.
Any questions? Go ahead.
Thank you. Do you have target seats? So when we say this one partnership, what's the goal? Like how many seats would we think would come out of this?
It really is going to depend on the hub partner's ability to reach different organizations. We actually are also going to be talking with the Texas Workforce Commission, who has a set of data that helps identify where are students at these child care partnerships, so that we can go ask them, hey, do you want to be part of this hub model? And then we can really approach those different spokes, you might call them different spokes, to see if they're interested. But because it's not our seats, it's not our teachers, it really can be, it can grow as big as the spokes are willing and are interested to grow.
Thank you. Is this an exclusive partnership, or would it be an exclusive partnership between HISD and Collaborative for Children?
At this time and at this moment, they are the organization that that has applied. We did a call. We posted a call for different organizations to apply, and they were the one that submitted an application and that was selected. There's nothing that excludes a district from having more hubs, but in terms of their ability to respond to the call, they're the ones that responded.
Thank you.
Can you remind us who has responsibility over background checks, safety of the children? Is it part of Collaborative or the actual?
At this point in time, no details have been written out. That will be the next phase of the work, is that we continue to do this work. There are some requirements that the child care partners do have to meet in just how the state defines a quality pre-K. So there's going to be certain things that the teacher has to meet. And again, these institutions are typically already running pre-K programs. It's our ability to just support them in their existing operations.
So let me add to that. Our standard process is that our ethics department would make sure that the vendor is doing the appropriate background checks if they have contact with kids.
So I know I've heard you talk before about the importance of getting more kids into pre-K 3, pre-K 4. Obviously, the literacy effects are huge. Do you expect this to expand the availability of pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 to more students in our district?
Absolutely. The hope is to ensure that more students have access and support to pre-K, yes.
And I guess help me understand a little bit the mechanism. This is not just now there's more money for kids who are already in these programs. We're talking about making more seats available for students, making more funding available for students.
So whenever we talk about a spoke, we'll talk about the organization we're partnering with as the hub and the different schools that they work with as the spoke. Because it's an 1882 partnership, we get additional money from the state, and then that spoke gets additional money more than they currently have. So that could allow them to open more seats at their spoke, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, great. Thank you.
Mr. President and members of the board, I'd like to invite Monica Zdrajewski to come up and talk about the school closures. Before she gets started, let me just give a short preamble. You may recall that when this administration and board of managers got here in December of 2023, one of the questions I was asked was, are you going to close the schools? And the reason that that question was asked on multiple occasions was the elected board had a list of schools to close, and there's a long story behind that, but in any case, they punted it and said, let the board of managers handle it. And I said in that summer, look, we're not going to close schools because we don't know enough about those schools. And the story was at that time, there were 121 DNF campuses, most of them in underserved areas, and a lot of schools whose buildings had some tough facilities, whose schools, the facilities of which had not been invested in for quite some time. And I said at that time that, look, the worst thing we can do is close community schools because the community, I believe in the community school process. However, the schools that had not been invested in were losing enrollment already, and a lot of people were leaving because of the academics. And I said, look, let's give it a chance first to get the academics right so that we're not closing schools because they are failing schools and people are leaving them. If we have to close schools, let's close them because of the facilities, not because of the academics. And lo and behold, if you look at the 12 schools, I believe all of them were D or F back in 2023. And now, most of them, if not all, are A, B, or C schools. And so we can be very proud of the fact that this team and those teachers and those kids and those families did do a good job of bringing up the academics. So we're not in a position of closing A and B schools or good schools academically. And I've resisted bringing to the board a list of schools for 3 years, even though most people had expected schools to close. And not only have we resisted waiting 3 years, but there are, if you look at the list of schools and the conditions of our facilities, and everybody knows this to be the case because we get beat up every winter for heating, and we get beat up every summer for cooling, and we go around at 4:30 in the morning trying to repair and make sure our kids at least have heat and air conditioning when they need it. So everybody knows this, and there's over 40 schools, facility-wise, that could possibly be closed if we did it just by the numbers, just by the data. But we're not doing that. We are bringing the schools that we think are just not good or just not safe for kids. And I'm talking about the facilities, right? We have schools with some structural issues. They're safe right now, but excuse me.
As we talked earlier, please let the superintendent finish.
And so it's a tough decision. We recognize that, but we've gotten to the point where the school facilities, to repair them is so much more expensive than replacing them at the end of the day. It's like a car that you have to keep replacing the transmission or something like that. At some point, you have to stop. And in a couple of places, they will be a problem, a danger problem, just a year from now, 2 years from now, and we can't afford to do that, besides the enrollment problem. So we'll talk through our rationale and the decision-making process, which was not done lightly, and what we've done to kind of adjust based on the input we've received. And Chief of Staff Monica Grajewski will do that. Thanks. Let them advance it from the room. Just say advance.
Good evening, board members. This evening, I will be providing you with an update on the administration's recommendation to close 12 schools, 11 physical facilities. Throughout this presentation, I will discuss the decision-making framework utilized to identify the impacted campuses. I'll share more information regarding the campus-specific proposed actions, the program offerings at the receiving campuses, family and staff engagement done to date, and additional logistical information and next steps. The district is making the difficult decision to close schools in order to sustainably set students up for long-term success academically in safe and healthy facilities. This is a necessary action to ensure the long-term strength, sustainability, and quality of education is ensured for our students. If the proposal is approved, our focus for the next 2 months will be to continue to ensure families and staff have the information and support they need for an effective transition. Our decision-making framework was thorough and focused on 3 key data points: the quality of the facility, the enrollment, and the building utilization. Our guiding principles were applied during various stages and steps of the review process to ensure we are minimizing disruption by moving students to nearby, safe, and higher quality facilities. As the superintendent referenced, we did start by conducting a thorough data review. We used a rigorous methodology and systematic process in order to come to the final recommendation of 12 schools. HISD has many aging facilities and declining enrollment, which has been declining for over a decade. When you consider enrollment, building facilities, and utilization rates, there are many schools that could be on a potential closure list. However, our aim was to minimize the disruptions as much as possible. From over 50 that met an initial set of criteria based on the data above, the 12 schools selected have nearby schools with higher quality facilities, the space to accommodate more students with comparable and expanded program offerings, and additionally, there isn't a reasonable path forward for increasing enrollment in those areas based on the demographic projections that we have. So here you see a map with the locations of the closing campuses. And these campuses have been experiencing enrollment declines for several years. And again, the demographic data demonstrates that these geographic areas are not expected to reverse the trend of decreasing enrollment. And there are a number of different factors that we know go into that decreasing enrollment: economic mobility, high mobility rates, population shifts, as well as federal policy. We also know that urban districts nationally and in Texas are experiencing enrollment declines, and many have also made the difficult decision to move forward with school closures as a result. On the next slide, you see that this map layers on the receiving campuses in blue. I want to highlight the proximity of the receiving campuses to the closing campuses. The average distance between the closing and the receiving campuses is 1.86 miles. And we did hear at all of the family meetings the concerns around transportation, and I will be sharing and addressing that in a subsequent slide. Our student safety is very important, and we have made an adjustment as far as transportation goes that I'll share here momentarily. And we know, of course, that this will impact families differently based on where they live within the current zone. I'd next like to share with you all specific data for each individual impacted campus. So on this slide, apologies for all the numbers, but we wanted to give you a comprehensive look at the data. So here you see a summary of the closing school data on the left, the receiving school data on the right-hand side of the slide, and the proposed actions. And I specifically want to call your attention to the enrollment change, the 5-year enrollment change, as well as the school size. The schools recommended for action have either been small for the past 5 years or have seen a significant enrollment decline over the past 5 years and are in a low-quality, declining facility that we know over time will progressively become more and more expensive to maintain. The receiving campuses are nearby and in all but 2 cases have higher FCI. When we operate multiple underutilized campuses in the same area, we continue carrying a high number of redundant operating and maintenance costs annually, and the consolidation allows us to direct capital strategically to higher utilized facilities rather than spread it thinly across declining enrollment sites. On this slide, I will focus on the program offerings that will be available to our students from the closing campuses transitioning to the receiving campuses. As we've been making our decisions, our commitment has been to, at minimum, maintain similar or comparable program offerings, and where possible, offer expanded program offerings at the receiving campuses. So specifically, I'd like to call your attention to the closing of Briscoe and the transition of those students to Carrillo Elementary. Both campuses are currently PUA campuses and will continue to be PUA campuses at the consolidated site. They will continue to offer the dual language programming to the students attending the receiving campus. And Carrillo has a current Vanguard gifted and talented magnet that students now from Briscoe will essentially have access to as part of the expanded program offerings. Burris and Kennedy, both of those are NES campuses. So the Burris students moving to Kennedy Elementary will continue to receive the NES instructional model that they are familiar with and that they have been successful with, as well as the dual language programming, and fine arts programming will continue to be offered via electives or dyad. On the next slide, I wanted to call your attention to our co-located sites. And so as a reminder, a co-location means that there will be two distinct schools operating within one facility. So they'll have a different principal, their teachers will move with them, so they'll continue to have that continuity, both of staffing as well as of programming. You'll see that the co-located campuses will maintain their individual campus programming at their new facility, and there will not be a change at the host site as well. They will continue to maintain the programming that they have been experiencing over time. Here I wanted to call your attention to the consolidation of Fleming and McReynolds Middle School that will be co-located with Mickey Leland. We have a very successful STEM magnet at McReynolds Middle School currently. We will be transferring that magnet program to the consolidated site. Again, expanding access to that successful STEM magnet to more students as a result of this consolidated middle school. And similarly, fine arts programming will continue to be offered via electives. I also, a question that came up at many times throughout the parent sessions was around class sizes. And so we are committed to continuing to review and manage enrollment to maintain appropriate class sizes in alignment with our HISD recommended student-teacher ratios to ensure students continue to receive strong instruction and individualized support. Another theme that came up at all of the family meetings was around special education services. And so we really want to make sure to emphasize that all students will continue to receive their special education services in accordance with the law and their IEPs, their individualized education plans, and we will be planning and working with these families for these student transitions in the spring. So next, I wanted to be sure to share with the board updates regarding the engagement we've done with families at the impacted campuses, as well as the staff, to provide them with relevant information and support. So first, here, I want to make sure to emphasize that the meetings that we held were for families, parental guardians of students at the impacted campuses. So we have held family meetings at all the closing sites, the receiving sites, as well as the co-location sites. And additionally, all families will have received follow-up emails with specific important information on their campus. The divisions and school offices are in the process of reaching out to each family individually to ensure they have a personal touch point and get any individualized questions answered. We will continue to provide this type of service throughout the spring to support the transition. And so you see here a summary of key themes that came up during the meetings. And so I will take some time to touch on many of these through the remainder of the presentation, like transportation, facilities readiness, staffing, as well as student safety. So transportation, again, was one of the most commonly heard topics that came up at the family meetings. And student safety is of utmost importance to us. And so as a result of what we heard from families and the input received during the meetings, HISD will provide a direct bus from the closing school to the receiving school for all interested students, regardless of their eligibility for 2 years. Families will be able to request this transportation via a survey that will be shared in May. I next wanted to share with you information on what we have done to support our impacted staff with this transition. So our human resources team have also met with the staff at each of the closing campuses. Common topics and questions, as you see here, included placement and selection, contracts and employment, and program and role continuity. The team was able to answer commonly asked questions, collect preference information from staff members to support placements. The HR team is compiling a structured placement pool based on the preference survey to match eligible staff with open positions. And so staff at closing campuses will receive priority for any vacancies at receiving campuses. And as I mentioned, we collected information from them regarding their placements, and we'll work directly with our contracted staff to make sure we find them a seat at an HISD campus for next year. And I do want to emphasize that contracted staff will not lose employment with the district on the basis of closures. This is something that we have communicated from the very beginning, that we will follow our annual review process, our evaluation system, and teachers who earn at least a progressing 2 or higher eval or earn a progressing 1 evaluation and are retained by their principal will receive and are guaranteed an equivalent position in the district for the 26-27 school year.
Monica, let me just jump in just for a second. And we've had these staff meetings and parent meetings, and it's February, and we will have many more. And questions can be answered between now and August. So there'll be plenty of time to, if there are individual questions, and each parent will get an individual call from their school, those questions can be answered. Staff will have other opportunities to talk about HR issues or any other issues that they have. And again, I will reiterate what Chief Dreyfus just said. Nobody will lose, no contracted staff will lose their position based on closure. We have evaluations all the time. That process will go on. But if there's not a spot for them in the other school, they will find a similar. We'll give them a similar position.
Aligned with their interests, they still can go through our normal open teacher transfer. So I wanted to share what is coming next. As the superintendent said, we have transition support teams in place that have been working with our campus staff and families that will continue March through June. We're making calls to each and every impacted family. We will host campus tours and welcome events, meet the teacher nights, provide enrollment support. This was something that came up frequently at the family meetings that I want to make sure to stamp here, that if the student transitions from a closing campus to the receiving campus that we showed on the slide, the parent does not need to take any additional action to enroll their student to make it as seamless of a transition as possible. We will continue to provide individual family support as needed, for example, for our special education students, and our Family Connection Center has continued to field questions and address families' concerns. The other thing that we heard frequently at the family meetings was the desire to be involved in the legacy planning for the campus. And so we know that our campus communities have deep connections to their school and the physical facility. And so we will be standing up legacy committees in order to bring together staff, families, and community members invested in preserving the campus's history and traditions, leveraging the existing site-based decision-making process. And we will continue to share information via the school website, via school newsletters on this process. And you see here the timeline and breakdown of what that will look like. Separately, we will be convening a facilities usage committee in the late spring and summer to bring together stakeholders to provide input on the future facilities usage for the closing buildings.
Monica, can I ask a
Yes.
question first? I attended Henderson last night, and one of the topics was school choice. And I know that one of the reasons for the timing here
Yes.
was related to school choice.
Correct.
Can you just go through the school choice options that are available to the students that are being impacted by this move and the timing that they will have to make their decisions, please?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Marty. So for school choice, what we shared at the family meetings was if the families want to pursue a different option than the receiving campus that we have proposed transitioning the student to, they can go through our school choice process, and we've extended the deadline to March 6th, next Friday, to give families the opportunity to engage in that process.
Would you please respect our rules? Thank you.
We had school choice.
Go ahead.
We had school choice representatives available at the.
You need to, please let Chief finish her presentation. Thank you.
We had school choice representatives available at every family meeting, and that was part of the small groups. We held a whole group presentation to give information, and we had representatives of each of the family meetings from our special education department, our school choice department, and our family and communities engagement team, as well as division representatives. They were present at all of the meetings. Any other questions?
Go ahead.
Okay. So again, as we have stated, school closures are a difficult but necessary action to ensure the long-term strength, sustainability, and quality of education for our students. And so we're focused on building a financially sustainable HISD with the resources to support the vision for student success. Closures will allow us to consolidate and prioritize usage resources on these higher utilized campuses. Another theme that emerged at the family meetings was the question of facility readiness, and so I wanted to be sure to reference that today. So our facilities maintenance and operations team have already completed preliminary walkthroughs of each receiving campus to identify facility needs that will require work prior to the next school year. And we've stated some examples here. If there are any heating and cooling system improvements, playground construction and maintenance were needed, safety and security upgrades, and in some cases there are specific accessibility needs that we need to address, especially at our co-location sites. And so we will continue to work diligently to ensure all facility preparations are completed in a timely manner to ensure a smooth transition for our students. So we shared this at the February 12th board meeting, so I wanted to bring it up here again. The star indicates where we are today, February 26th. Here you see the school choice window extension, when school choice notifications will take place in April. Transition planning and welcome events will continue throughout the spring. Staffing decisions will be made in mid-April, again in time for teachers to go through the normal open transfer period if they would like. And then the final day of school, June 4th, is when the campus would close. And so you see here we have the mapped out all the steps that we need to take to ensure a smooth transition for our students. And so in closing, again, this was not a decision that was made lightly. You see the systematic process we took to review the data and then also make sure we are minimizing disruption as much as possible. It's a hard but necessary decision to position HISD for the future and ensure that our students can continue to have successful educational careers. And we're committed to making the transition as smooth as possible for our students, our families, and our staff. I talked about many of these supports, and these supports will all continue throughout the spring and in the summer to again make sure our families, our students, and our staff are all prepared for a successful start of school year 26-27.
Board members, before we do any questions, which I assume you have some, Thank you for your presentation. I would like to get our General Counsel, Katasha Woods, to walk us through board policy on this issue.
So the relevant board policy here is C2 local. And just for some clarity, C2 local is the board policy. CT2 is the regulation. As a general rule, regulations govern the behavior of the administration in implementing board policy. So here, CT local actually requires the district to create an objective criteria and implement it across the board for school closures, which if you look at the slide presentation that Monica just went through, it demonstrates that there was a process using, evaluating all of the items that are required in CT2. We looked at the adequacy of the facilities. There was intensive review of the instructional programs. We used a cross-functional group of team members to ensure that each aspect of this was reviewed before closing school. We looked at the facilities. We looked at whether or not the receiving school could adequately serve the students once they were transitioned over. So these are the considerations that are required. It's what the regulation asks us to do before we bring a recommendation to the board. There's also a requirement for allowing community input and also allowing notification. I think Monica reviewed for the board what that looked like here. There's not a set prescribed process in the regulation, and so this was the process that was used here. And based on the regulation, the way it's set forth, I know there's been a lot of attention to the timing here. The timing is when the CSO should actually submit the recommendation to the superintendent. And that actually did happen here. As the superintendent noted, there was a list of school closures. We developed this over the first half of the school year, and we paused that and then needed to restart this process. And so based on those considerations, we have complied with the board policy as it relates to the school closure analysis.
Okay, thank you. Board members, questions? Go ahead. I'm going to caution the audience that please let us run this meeting so that we can get through and then hear from the rest of the speakers. Go ahead.
Thank you for the presentation. I want to revisit quickly to make sure I understand the slide that you had on the adjustment for the transportation, specifically the shuttle option that you mentioned. I want to thank you for the adjustment there. I know a lot of us on the board received a lot of concern around transportation as an option. So I just want to clarify that a shuttle will be offered from the school that will be closed to the receiving campus. Is that like a round trip shuttle? Right.
Yes, we would offer several kind of routes in the morning. I shouldn't use the word routes, but there will be several options for families whose students currently walk to their closing campus to have a bus pick them up directly at the closing campus and go directly to the receiving campus, both in the AM and then in the PM back to the closing campus. I think
And that's based on the hours of your campus, correct? So that's
Correct.
an NES campus, it's early, and later the
Correct.
shuttle will run based on the hours.
Correct. So
Okay,
for
thank
example,
you.
we would run like 4 different times in the morning based on the start time of the school. And then similarly in the evening, we would offer several times where the bus would go directly from the receiving campus to the closing campus, AM and PM.
Thank you.
Go ahead. Any other questions on this side?
Yeah,
Again, it doesn't do you any good to have a conversation from the audience. There'll be plenty of discussions and plenty of time for people to understand exactly what this is, but this is not the time to fire out a question. Okay, we're either going to, we are going to continue this meeting, and you understand the rules.
Board President, I do have a
Go ahead.
clarification,
What's that?
if I can proceed. Just a
Go ahead.
clarification.
Go ahead.
We referred a lot to the FCI index, and just to make sure nobody makes an assumption, that's not something that was made in the last 2 weeks. This is something that, I wanted to just clarify that in case there were any concerns about that number being something that was calculated in the last 2 weeks. This has been something over some period of time. I'm familiar with it from the preparation for the bond that was pursued, but that goes back even further than that. In other words, there's no secret that many schools in HISD have challenges, and this data has been consolidated to help us support that decision of which schools have the most challenges that create safety concerns, especially for our kids.
Yes, that's correct. None of the data points you see were calculated in the past 2 weeks. We look at those on an annual basis. And the FCI, again, I know we talked about this, but it's the higher the number, the lower the quality of the facility is. So the other piece that we look at annually is that we know over time, right, the building degrades further and further. So part of our analysis was actually, again, looking into the future and seeing where, facilities that are progressively kind of getting worse over time, where again, we don't have the financial means to actually rebuild those facilities.
And to clarify again, objectivity, this isn't something that the district decides the condition of, the process, how the buildings have been evaluated. To clarify that part would be helpful, I think.
Actually going to invite Chief Jolivet, who's our Chief of Facilities Maintenance and Operations, to help give a little bit more clarity on that.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Alicia Jolivet, Chief of Facilities and Maintenance Operations. I do want to clarify just on the Facilities Condition Index, which is a part of the decision-making here. We actually did a facilities condition assessment, which includes the FCI of the building. And so in the FCI, as well as the FCA, we look at the projections over time. And so we look at the capital improvement requirements over time, as well as any deferred maintenance. We look at the demographic area, geographical area, and programs of current study as well as future study. So we did begin doing facilities assessments way back in 2017. We did another one in 2020. We did another refresh in 2023. I do want to highlight, whenever we do a facilities condition assessment, it is to look at over a period of time because it includes a capital investment requirement. And so we did project out in 2023 what it might look like over a 10-year span. And so without investing into major capital improvement items, which we did do several campuses, right, during ESSER, as well as with the maintenance tax notes that you all reviewed, there are still several campuses or many campuses that require capital improvements. Even with those capital improvements, looking at the projection over time, we had to look at, is it costly to, or is it cost effective to invest or replace? And unfortunately, the replacement numbers became higher, and that therefore we have a higher FCI. There are weights included, which determine that overall FCI. And so looking at the mechanical, the electrical, and the plumbing needs, as well as different other components, ADA as well. Hopefully that answered the question.
Chief, while you're there, what can you tell us about these schools that are up here on the left and closing, just kind of big picture terms?
So big picture terms, we do know, you want to go campus by campus?
No, not necessarily.
Okay. So of course, when you look at the closing schools with the higher FCIs, we also looked at the utilization, and we also look at the capacity. And so those campuses that are on the left are moving into either a lower FCI or a higher capacity campus.
And that was, it stuck out to me that Briscoe, for example, is going to a higher FCI
Yes.
at Carrillo. That's driven by capacity?
Driven by capacity, yes. We are maintaining all of the campuses. We're going to continue to maintain all of the campuses, but yes, it is driven by capacity there.
It's more generally, like, what is the condition of these schools over here on the left? And I understand there's a little bit of variation, but what kind of shape are they in?
Of course, we're not going to put students in unsafe campuses. We're going to maintain the campuses throughout this process. On the left, yes, they can be improved by electrical upgrades, but we also need to look at our programs of study. And so when we look at the programs of study, are the campuses, are the classrooms set in such a way that it allows for better programming, or are they stagnant in the areas that they're currently in? The campuses on the right are newer campuses, and so they are built with additional electrical capacities, additional spacing requirements, and then common areas that can be converted.
So in other words, like, it's not always like obvious like walking in, right? That there's real challenges.
Yes.
Behind, under the walls, under the building. I mean, it's a combination of different factors.
Yes.
And the safety part is great to emphasize. I appreciate the maintenance, because I think there were a number of questions at some of the meetings, like, if it's not safe, are my kids safe in there right now?
Right.
So thank you for emphasizing that.
Yeah, so they are safe. We're not going to put our kids in unsafe buildings.
May I ask you a little about the receiving schools that have the higher FCI? So with Carrillo and then Pleasantville is in the 70s, which is not great. Are we going to have a little bit of funds are they going to get some resources, these do we have money to help those two campuses as they're receiving?
Yes, we will have additional funds to offset the cost for capital improvement requirements. With the Pleasantville and Port Houston, we know that both of those campuses yield a higher FCI. And so, of course, we wanted to make sure that we're investing into one building so that we could put the supports into that campus. And so Pleasantville has the greater capacity for us to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, my question's not on facilities.
Okay,
It's on the
thank you.
process. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Okay, few rapid fires for you. Okay, I just want to make this super simple, because we just got a tremendous amount of information, and this is an issue that affects individual families a lot, so they're trying to pay attention to all of it. So I wanted to just make sure we double back on a couple things. Okay, the programming. If I'm in a dual language school and the school I'm going to does not have the same language programming, walk me through that. How does it work?
So what we looked to do was, there's a difference between one-way and two-way dual language programming, and so what the academics team looked at was, what did the closing school have and what did the receiving school have, and then based on the number of emergent bilingual student speakers that they had, they then made a decision around what was the best suited programming for the consolidated campus.
Help me understand that in just regular. If I had a program at my school, I'm going to a different school, what's that look like from a programming perspective?
I'll just speak really quickly to the multilingual models that are available in Texas. And so there's really 6 models that we look at. We have dual language one-way, dual language two-way. We have something that we call early exit, late exit, and then ESL. All of the research supports that dual language is the type of multilingual programming model that supports English proficiency and helps students maintain their native language. And so we have been investing in dual language programming for the past 3 years. We have a lot more dual language programming options. And so when we looked at this, what we said is, if any of the campuses, the sending or the receiving campuses, have dual language one-way or two-way, we want to maintain that offering for their campus. So there was a couple situations where the receiving campus did not have dual language, but the closing campus did. We made sure that the receiving campus still had that dual language offering.
Great. Okay. So in simple way I understand this, if you had dual language, you keep dual language. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. That's one.
Yes.
All right. The second thing I saw was I I don't want people to have to keep walking up, but it was around the STEM point. There was a co-location STEM point. Okay, so now this is like a little different
Yes.
question, but related. So if I'm going to a school, if my historical school did not have STEM, but then my new school does have STEM, does that mean I get more?
Correct, yes.
Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, so in these cases like this one here, where the magnet was just at McReynolds Middle School, only students at McReynolds Middle Schools or those that transferred in through school choice had access to that program. Now by consolidating 2 middle schools, both the Fleming and the McReynolds students now have access to that STEM magnet. So we did look for situations where we could transfer programming in order to offer more.
Great. So if I'm a family and I'm in one of these affected schools that didn't have STEM and I'm moving to a school that does have STEM,
You now have
my
access
family
to
has
it.
access to
Correct.
more programming.
Correct.
Okay, great. The transportation point, can we go to that slide? Because I thought that was a brilliant call out by my colleagues. And I just want to understand it because it seems really amazing, a really amazing example of community school collaboration, even though it may not have seemed like that, okay? So,
It was directly in response to the feedback we heard at every family meeting, yes.
right, so this bottom eligibility criteria bullet, it says 2+ miles from new campus, but then you said that the average distance is 1.8 miles.
That
Right, so
depend-
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
What you're essentially saying is you are going to provide more transportation resources, even outside of the normal framework of how the district makes these decisions for the benefit of families who may be transportation challenged. And we heard it, I was in the back at Port Houston, and we heard about the railroad tracks, and we heard about those. So if you're a family at Port Houston, there is a vehicle that will take you from Port Houston to
directly
Pleasantville. Okay,
And directly from Pleasantville back to Port Houston.
And other schools too, but that's an example of where
is-
the distance, I believe, is less than 2 miles.
Yes.
And there will be a shuttle that was created for the specific benefit of that community.
Yes, specifically because we know since these are elementary schools, many students walk to their closing campus, and so that's why we wanted to provide this service. Of course, there are some students that may take the bus to Port Houston, and in those cases, they would continue to have transportation directly to their campus, but for those, and we know there are many who walk from Port Houston to Pleasantville, they can continue to walk to Port Houston. There will be a bus that will take them from there to Pleasantville directly.
Great, okay. And then the last point, thank you for accommodating me in these questions. Okay, my last question is, how do families communicate with the team here, right? So I heard just a few different pieces. We're making calls to families, we're communicating on Parent Square, we have phone numbers that parents can call us.
Yes.
Both monitored in English and Spanish. Can you
Yes.
just go through that, the ways that families can reach out to us with questions and the ways that they should expect to hear from us in the coming weeks?
Yes, thank you for asking that. So we have always had the Family Connection Center, that phone number we've sent out on every single letter that went out to families. In addition to that, based on we had some family meetings that were really highly attended, we had others that weren't, and so we made the decision as a team based on the participation rates to make sure that we still made individual phone calls to every single family that was impacted, and we're maintaining a call log where we're tracking what their concerns are, so that if there was something we couldn't address on the line, they will receive a follow-up phone call to address that concern. So if they have a SPED question, they will get a call back from someone in the SPED department who can help address that need.
That's great, so thank you, and I just want to encourage us to make sure every family has that number to be able to reach us and just appreciate the effort. Behind the scenes, there are a lot of people who worked really hard to build these systems and communicate with these families. And so we appreciate that. And look, the reality is like I always say, there are thousands of families who don't show up to these meetings who are just trying to get real answers to real issues that matter around the dinner table. I'm one of those families, I know. So the fact that we can just consistently communicate and keep those lines open and talk and overshare, I think it'll land where it needs to land. So thank you.
And that's thank you for our commitment again has been to work directly with the families impacted by these changes.
Okay, we appreciate your, you have one more? Okay, go ahead.
So you hear this concern about SPED and IEPs. I see it here on this slide. I also know on the other slide you said that we will continue the students' mandated IEPs. But can you talk a little bit, starting with the law, about what we are required legally to do and what we will continue to do?
Yes, ma'am. So every student has an individual education plan that dictates the instructional setting for that student. One of the things we're doing across special education across the board is really looking to make sure that schools are staffed appropriately to meet students based on their educational setting. And so for all campuses, there are a set of special education teachers that we will staff for campuses to make sure that it supports students who generally are seen in an inclusion model. So we have a lot of special education students that sit in our general education classrooms, but that need additional supports across the board. You can even look at autism, for example, where some of those students actually sit in our general education classrooms and just need some additional support around social skills, for example. That's not true across the board. But just saying, across all campuses, we want to staff special education based on the minutes required for all of those special education students that sit at that campus to be serviced. And that's how we think about providing teachers at a particular campus. And there are some specialized programs that are highly specialized. We have students that they're medically fragile, and they require even one-to-one support at times, and those services don't sit on every campuses because they're very resource intensive, and we want to invest in them so that they can be really strong as well. So across all of our campuses, again, the students who are sitting in our general education classes will be provided with special education teachers and services, and then we'll be working to make sure that our self-contained classes with highly specialized programs have the right support and the right staff so that those students can have their IEPs met.
And that is our commitment in this process. There's no difference. So that's our commitment in this. And then what does it mean? Why do we have a special thing? People are concerned about transportation. So what is our commitment with IEPs and transportation?
So whenever we are looking at an IEP, there's a section that actually looks at whether a student needs transportation because of their disability. And that's outlined in their IEP. And when that answer is yes, we make sure that regardless of where that student is, we provide that student with transportation support. So if you need transportation as a related service, that is provided to you as a student as a part of your individual education plan.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. We will now, excuse me, we are now going to hear from the remaining registered speakers from Group B, first in person, then Zoom. So we have seats in the front row reserved for the next group of speakers, so please occupy those seats. Please come to the microphone in your numbered order, beginning with number 37, and then Ms. Smith will call the...
Carmen Nuncio, starting with
from
37.
one of the affected campuses, and we weren't called in the first group, so we're going to go now, because
I'm sorry, we have registered speakers. Number 37 is Ms. Nuncio.
Hang on a second.
3 years ago.
I'm sorry, and did you register to speak?
Yeah. Turns out y'all didn't communicate very clearly and welcome us affected parents into this process that affects all our children.
Excuse me, then say your name, state your name. Okay, you may begin. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. 3 years ago, my kid attended an excellent neighborhood school. She checked out books every week from her library and was taught by experienced, qualified, certified teachers who challenged her creativity and critical thinking skills and had devoted their lives to our community. I got a teacher voice. But for the past 3 years, I've had to watch as you destroyed this school piece by piece. You forced out a beloved principal because she wouldn't bend her knee to policies that harm our children. You replaced books with worksheets close the library, replace teachers with screen time, which we know harms children's learning, mental health. Attendance has plummeted.
Ma'am, your time is up.
As a result of your terrible policy.
Ma'am, your time is up. Your time is up. Ma'am, your behavior is disrupting this public meeting and impeding the board's ability to conduct school business. This is your first warning. If you continue to impede the process, you'll be asked to leave the building. Ma'am, you've had your warning. Ma'am, your time is up. Ma'am, you continue to disrupt this meeting. Despite my warning, I'm now asking you to leave the meeting. So please, would you have her escorted? You had your warning. Please leave the meeting. The board is going to take a quick recess.
Okay. Okay.
We're going to try to call the meeting back to order. But in order to do that, we need the room to be calm. So I'm going to ask the board to come back out here, but we need order in the room. Thank you.
Ms. Nuncio, we're going to start with you, number 37.
Please come up. In order for us to return to the meeting, in order for us to return this meeting, we need you all to be calm so that we can return to this meeting.
This meeting we'll begin the meeting and we'll reconvene the meeting.
Why are you doing this to our kids? By law, you're supposed to let us know in advance about the closures of our schools. But then again, you've never gone by the law. I think it's high time that somebody holds you accountable for the horrible things you are doing to our kids. I was at Port Houston Elementary Monday, and my heart went out to the parents there. Some of them were crying because of what you're doing to them. These kids are our pride and joy, and you treat them like they're nothing. We're going to have to figure out how to replace Greg Abbott and Marath, so maybe, Miles, you can go with them, because this is too much what y'all are doing to our kids. It hurts our heart. And I pray that God forgives you, Mr. Miles, for what you're doing to our kids. Thank you.
Jackie Anderson, President of the Houston Federation of Teachers. Mike Miles and all of you aiders and abettors. School boards can be held liable for not providing or negligently providing transportation in unsafe situations, particularly if they fail to uphold a duty of care, ignore known hazards, or violate safety protocols. While governmental immunity often protects districts, it does not apply to gross negligence or reckless disregard for student safety. I'm putting you all on notice.
Thank you.
Tanya Wells, followed by Kathy Beasley.
Good evening, board members. My name is Tanya Wells, and I am the Executive Director of the Independent Heights Redevelopment Council, and I am in strong opposition of closing Burris Elementary. Independent Heights is the first Black city in Texas. We built that city because we had no access and people refused to let us in. So we made our own, we took care of our own. We are a historic city in Houston, and we deserve that respect. Our children deserve that respect. Hattie Mae White, for whom this building is named after, attended the original Independence Heights School, which was renamed to James D. Burris Elementary School. You want to partner with someone.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
You need to not close Burris.
Thank you.
My name is Kathy Beasley. In 1978, I was a sixth grader at Bonham Elementary. One field trip that year was a week-long exchange visit to Port Houston Elementary School. This was one of HISD's progressive and beneficial initiatives for the whole community. What you are doing now is destroying a community. Your desire to close 12 schools in underserved areas is a choice you made by your calculated dismantling of this district. You have no interest in underprivileged and underserved students in this city, and you have been corrupted by your unchecked, nefarious power. You want us to believe that you've been forced to choose this situation because of falling attendance, but you are the cause. You can distort it all you want with your farcical media, but we aren't fooled. I treasure the time I spent at Port Houston Elementary. Favorite memories from a district that helped shape me. It's not too late for you to save that school and all the others if you step off this path of shamefulness on which you tread. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Travis McGee, Southwark Super Neighborhood President, Sunnyside Civic Leader. The takeover has always been about money and real estate. We got Money Mike here with charter schools. We got Real Estate Rick here with the real estate. That's a huge conflict of interest. And I don't know why any of y'all can't see that. Closing schools is more surplus property. Consolidating schools is more surplus property. This is just another form of gentrification that's going to happen in the black and brown neighborhoods. So we need y'all to not just recuse yourself from the board, we need y'all to get off of this board, period. Because it's all about money. You have proven time and time again, other than the legislation being horrible, y'all make worse decisions than that legislation that got us to this point. So we need y'all just to take it off the table, period.
Thank you.
I am Don McCune. I speak against the closure of Port Houston Elementary and relocation of students to Pleasantville Elementary. I spoke here on the same matter in 2024 prior to the bond proposal soundly rejected by voters. This time, the voters will have no say. I find myself returning to the same atmosphere created by the superintendent of deception, cruelty, and division. The problems for Port Houston remain the same. Due to its unique location and geography, there is no safe pedestrian route from Port Houston to Pleasantville. Based on your past performance, your new promise of transportation is worthless. Port Houston has been underserved by government for decades. The school is the only functioning government institution in the neighborhood, and now even it will be lost. The school is the heart of this community. The administration ignores these issues. The board must now decide, who are you here to serve?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Inocencia Moreno, and I'm a community member. And I can see that this presentation has been going on for some time now. We, the people, need to know what's happening, and we have not been involved. Nobody has discussed this with us or the families. I work with kids in foster care, and I see the traumatic effects of kids being moved from one area, from one school to another. We need to see what the impact it is going to happen to these kids. Burleson Elementary is 100 years old. It's a significant landmark in a historical community. We cannot change that. We need to preserve our history and take care of our kids and watch for the mental effects and emotional effects that this is going to do to our families. Thank you.
Thank you.
I am Dr. Coretta Mallet-Fontenot. The selling of various school properties and the related matters, that's what I'm speaking about tonight. The relationship between the current board of managers and the appointed superintendent must contain two elements. And the community, trust and transparency. The Houston community does not trust any of you because you have not been transparent throughout this process. It was originally reported that consideration of school closures was not being considered for this year. That was obviously a breach of trust and transparency. The community also opposes the selling of these properties because this board and its appointed leader have not been transparent with the community. Again, we are watching the grifting of HISD in real time. No trust, no transparency, no bond. We are prepared. Let's go.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christine Hamilton. I'm a parent, and my daughter is in the 3rd grade at Carrillo Elementary School. When we joined Carrillo, we had an A rating. Since the state takeover, we have seen major instability, constant changes in administration, significant budget cuts, and the loss of over 50% of our teachers. Last year's principal struggled with effective leadership, and Carrillo dropped to a D rating. We are now on our 4th principal in 3 years. And my daughter has had non-certified teachers for the last 2. Our teachers are overwhelmed, and our children are paying the price. The proposal to consolidate schools may have merit in theory, but only if supported by a robust change management plan. At Tuesday's parent meeting, the district could not articulate a plan and contradicted the data provided here today. This reflects the same lack of support that we have experienced these last 3 years. Without stable leadership, Correo cannot successfully absorb 50% more students and teachers. So I ask the board respectfully to vote no until the district can provide a concrete plan to address leadership,
Thank you.
stability, staffing, resource allocation, and meaningful parent
Thank you.
My name is Jovan Tyler. I am a community leader. Houstonians have entrusted each of you with a solemn responsibility, the stewardship of our children's futures. The decision to close black and brown schools is not a matter of lines on a spreadsheet. It is a matter of life in motion. We have been told this is about efficiency, but efficiency without equity is abandonment by another name. A neighborhood school is often a safe place in a child's life, where mentors intervene when a child falls behind, when counselors notice distress before crisis, where the community gathers in times of triumph and tragedy. Do you care? Doesn't seem like it. In closing, I'll ask what the gentleman asked earlier. With these black and brown kids in their schools, do any of you live in those communities? Other than visiting recently, have any of you been to those communities? I think the answer is probably no, and shame on you.
Thank you.
Speaker 47, Desi Ariano, and speakers 48 through 58, could you please move to the front rows? Thunder Chin.
My name is Thunder, and I'm with the Houston PSL, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. A better education, a better world is not only possible, but necessary. Thank you for being here and fighting for it. I'm going to lead a few chants right now. I encourage you to stand up and chant with me. Let's go. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. When I say people, you say power people. Power people. Power people. Power people. Power. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. And when do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, shut it down. 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 Thank you.
Thank you. The time is up.
Speaker 49, Cindy Cura. Speaker 50, Christy Brewster.
Okay, so I already spoke. And the only thing as a mom, if you guys are parents, to consider the option of not shutting down the schools. This is the school that I'm representing. It's not just a school. It's a home where we feel there are kids safe. So I welcome y'all to go and give a walk from Port Houston to Pleasantville. That is not a safety area. So for now, I'm gonna let y'all know. If y'all consider shutting down the Port Houston, I'm gonna make sure that everybody removes their kids from HISD.
Thank you. We have State Representative Lauren Ashley Simmons here, so if you'd like to, go ahead, you may.
Good evening to my family and friends, not y'all so much. I always have very measured remarks that I work on very hard before I get here, and then I get here and I see the smug faces and the smirks, and it just goes all out the window. Extremely disappointed that I'm here once again standing before you pleading on behalf of my community. 12 schools, one in my district, Alcott Elementary. Have y'all ever even been to the campus? Have you ever set foot on it? Met the teachers, met the principal, seen the kids, any of that? At all. These are not your schools. This is still a public district. Still a public district. We're taxpayers. There's something very Trumpian about the way you're running this district, like a dictatorship. A board of sycophants people who yell in the audience at community members about scoreboard. If this is a game, our children are losing. And y'all not winning either. I say this every time. He's gonna leave. Knock on wood, sooner than later. Y'all will still be here. I looked you up. You're new, because I guess the other two people that used to be here that told you no once couldn't come back. You're on Texas Southern's Board of Regents currently too? What a track record. Wow. What to be said. Tearing our community limb from limb. And all y'all can do is think about the money to be made from the sale of this property. These are people. These are children. These are students. These are our community. This is our future. I want to live in a city with a well-educated populace. I want to live with people who can discern fact from fiction, who are not taking art of thinking classes with misspelled curriculum and passages with questions that don't line up. I had to sit Mike Miles down in my office when I was in session and show him not just 1, 2, 3, or 4, hundreds. And you can shake your head, Angela. I'll bring it to you too if you need to see it. Hundreds of incorrect pieces of curriculum. It's ridiculous. And you can blame and say, oh, because we worked against you about that bond money was not gonna keep those schools open. There's natural attrition, there's a low birth rate, but you know what it really is? It's you. You exacerbated the crisis we're in right now. People are fleeing this district because of you and the rest of you. Look confused all you want. Like I said, this room is not full for no reason. It's you. Own the responsibility. These are our schools. Our schools. We're not here for no reason.
Thank you.
Michelle Brewster, you're a retired, certified emeritus school nurse. I'm back, Floyd. We still here, but we're reclaiming our time. Spotlighting your educational malpractice. This is Texas Public School Week. Stand if you support public ed. You said we didn't have any money for maintenance and HVAC and repairs, so you're gonna close 12. You said we didn't have adequate money for adequate transportation, but you found something to put the children in a taxi or something, gonna take them to the other school. You said we didn't have money, but you found money to give this pseudo-certified deputy a position. And then you found $2 million to come up with your new TV station so you can say the whole truth, but it ain't the truth. Greg Abbott, you better come get this boy. He's messing with your votes at the poll.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
Speaker 51, Adriana Trustopoulos. My name is Adriana Christopoulos, and I'm a former Chicagoland educator teaching there during CPS's school closures, an applicant to the Board of Managers, a former HISD and TEA vendor, and Houstonian, here to urge you to vote no on this closure plan. Not because HISD can forever avoid school closures, but because how and when they are closed matters. PACER's 2024 meta-analysis on school closure research lists multiple studies that document negative impacts on displaced students' academic performance in the announcement year, the year following the closure, and in some cases the long-term, as well as negative impacts on student achievement in receiving schools. This vote works against to-date effort and headway towards student achievement at HISD. And for a board and administration that say they value data and evidence, the absence of meaningful community input is directly at odds with research-based best practices that consistently emphasize adequate time and community collaboration.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Meyer, and I'm the Executive Director of Neighbors in Action. We're a community center located in Port Houston and have worked with a school in Port Houston for 31 years, serving approximately 800 children, youth, and parents. We've strategically planned and built our programs around this partnership. The school is the heart of the community that is already cut off by railroad tracks and industry, with no major grocery store, no clinic, limited transportation, unsafe walkways. The school is the anchor of stability and trust. It functions like a family. Teachers often grew up in this very neighborhood and understand its particular needs. Parents are involved because they trust the school, and that trust cannot simply be transferred. Children learn best when they feel safe, known, and supported. My question is also what happens to transportation after those 2 years, and what happens to transportation for parents. I urge you to consider what this closure would mean for a community that already carries so much, and at the least postpone your votes until.
Thank you. Thank you.
Evening, Amy Erickson, HISD parent. My family's own school is one on the slate that's for closed for co-locations. Month after month, families show up here and talk about transparency and process. Time after time, you guys have ignored it. This is an opportunity with these closures to do something different, and you've chosen not to. I'm going to speak from a parent's perspective, watching these meetings and what you've been focusing on. Over the summer, you removed board members who dared ask questions. August and September, you dismantled and destroyed communities like Durham with your Schools of Focus plans. And then you approved the superintendent's absurd bonus. October and November, parents erroneously learned that their children failed the STAR test while you spent millions on the HISD propaganda channel. December, gutting CTE programs at high-performing schools and selling off 5 properties. January, prioritizing a conference room dedication over the urgent needs of our students. Our children will not be victims of your poor planning and Abbott's political.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Ruth Hoffman-Lack. I don't have the arrogance to think I can speak for this woman. This is her speech. You can either let her read or you can let me read it and be really hypocritical.
Hello, everyone. My name is Toshiba Dixon. I'm the parent of 3 students at Port Houston Elementary. Closing Port Houston in June is a rash decision, and we need to slow down. The impending closure violates your own CT2 policy, which outlines timing, notification, and collaboration standards. This demonstrates that any declaration of transparency and partnership with parents is disingenuous. How long was the decision pending? If for some time, that means there was no transparency and we are not truly partners. Partners decide together. Otherwise, you're handlers, not partners. True value doesn't lie in quantity, but in quality. The quality of the relationships that are being torn apart, the quality of the community that's being destroyed, the quality of the legacy being erased. Port Houston matters. Any changes must be approached with care, foresight, and community engagement. They also haven't addressed SPED. SPED is. We want to know if the classrooms are going to be transferred to the new school.
Thank you.
Transfer the structured learning classes to the new schools.
Thank you.
My name is Jeff, and I'm a father and a member of the PSL, Party for Socialism and Liberation. The TA takeover has never been about improving education standards nor benefiting students. This has always been about billions of tax dollars that the largest school district in Texas and the 8th largest district in the United States rightly receives. These tax dollars belong to the working class. And the decision to close down 12 schools is further proof that this is all about money. The decision to take over HISD and close 12 schools was made to steal property and push a racist privatization of education and line the pockets of politicians, corporate donors, and school board members that made this decision in the first place, stealing our hard-earned tax dollars and diverting it to a voucher system that will benefit only those that already have access to these education. These school closures are all about selling school property to real estate developers. So what will happen to these kids when they're...
Thank you.
Ruth Kravitz, and speakers 58 through 68, could you please come to the front rows?
Good evening, my name is Ruth Kravitz. Your demographic projections left out any data about old schools in white, more affluent neighborhoods. If you have to close schools, why are you only targeting black and brown schools? Lawyer Katasha Woods said HISD has been working on these closures decisions for a long time, but the public just found out 2 weeks ago. So more word salad. What's this so-called legacy planning after closure? Does it mean we'll call you right before we sell off the properties? You state this is fiscally necessary, but you said you want to spend another $2 million on your HISD news station. At the Franklin meeting, when a parent complained, the district said if you don't like it, you can leave HISD. How is that fiscal stewardship? These closures are one more insult in a long line of racist policies from Miles and this board. You aren't elected, so we can't replace you for your bad decisions, but this is fundamentally democratic. We live in America, and this is a bad representation of what we want for our future.
Thank you.
Speaker 58. Speaker 58, Colette Robichaud. Thank you.
I am a community member and a grandparent of 4 grandchildren in HISD, and only one is currently in an HISD school. My local school, elementary school, Durham Elementary, experienced immediate student enrollment decline because this administration went in and abruptly changed the curriculum 2 days before school began in August, as well as removing a well-respected and excellent 3rd grade teacher. I live down the street from Durham, and I am witnessing firsthand fewer and fewer neighborhood walkers. Your own policies and actions are responsible for the decline in HISD enrollment. And this is happening in Durham when in my neighborhood there is an escalating number of new families with children moving in. So your decline is in reverse.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
Dr. Wilborn.
Dr. Denise Livings Wilborn. I speak tonight with a heavy heart. I can usually find a bit of humanity in just about anyone. As hard as I try, I can find zero. Zero. Logic, compassion, ethical actions, honesty, or transparency in any of the decisions made by you, the appointed board. Month after month, we come here. Before you, we give you evidence of your decisions being illegal, being unethical, manipulated data, month after month. Our students share their experiences of y'all dismantling their education. And y'all smirk. You do your cute little head nods. You hide behind your monitors.
Thank you.
Speaker 60. 61, Joetta Stevenson.
Hello, I'm Joetta Stevenson. I'm the president of the Greater Fifth Ward Super Neighborhood, and I'm here to urge you to vote no on this for right now. You see, I attended the parent community meeting at Mickey Leland the other last week, and I realized that you all are not prepared to handle this decision, these decisions that you've made. We all know that 95% of schools that have been closed over the past 20 or so years have been in Black and brown communities. So let's just put that out there. Right now, you're trying to move 2 middle schools, close them on the east side of 5th Ward, move them almost 2 miles away, not quite, to another school, and you think you're going to have children in the 6th grade in the same building where children are already there that are 18 years old. I don't understand that. That's not safe. That's wrong.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you. Your time's up. Thank you. Your time is up. Your time's up. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair, Board members, and Superintendent. My name is Billy Williams. I'm here to represent the historic Boris neighborhood. This faith-based leadership stands with the community in firm opposition of the proposed closure of James D. Boris Elementary. James D. Boris is not just a building, it's a living landmark. For generations, it has been the heart of our historic Black neighborhood, a place of learning, stability, and pride. Closing it would not just shut a school, it serves as a vital thread in our community's fabric, and it erases a tangible piece of our history. After decades of systemic disinvestment, closing an institution that has endured feels like profound injustice, total disrespect. Listen, we are not here to say no. We're here to say yes. Yes to preserving our history. Yes to investing in our neighborhoods, children, and yes to partnering.
Thank you. Thank you. If you're going to speak, get to the podium, please.
Partnership with Collaborative for Children. This is a half-baked idea. HISD bid this hub thing, and only one entity that was acceptable responded. 2 levels of middlemen, each getting a taste. HISD itself, and then this hub, and then at the bottom, these for-profit pre-Ks. This is a scheme to move public money into private hands that incidentally allows Ms. Hull to take credit for pre-existing pre-K seats. Why are we enriching for-profit daycares? Ms. Hull doesn't know if this will expand the seats or even who will do the background check. She has no idea what pre-Ks the hubs are going to choose. She says instructional quality might go up, but what if these people just pocket the extra dollars they're going to get from the state? We'll be giving away our money. We don't.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Mindon Tran, followed by Brandy Dowda.
Mindon Tran, I'm an HISD teacher, and I'm going to continue Ms. Daisy Arellano's speech because y'all cut her off. Just a reminder, she's a parent, community member, and alumna of Port Houston. On a personal level, she says the school shaped her. Within these walls, I was seen and encouraged. Today, I see that same transformation happening in my own child. Before coming here, school was a place of frustration and self-doubt. Now my child is confident, thriving, and proud. Port Houston Elementary is more than a school. It is stability. It is support. It is community. It provides meals before and after school care and a safe place within walking distance for families without reliable transportation, especially in unpredictable Texas weather. We are not asking for special treatment. We are asking for transparency and fairness. We are asking you to pause this decision. Meet with our families, walk our campus, hear directly from the parents and teachers who live this reality every day. Please remember, you are not voting on a building. You are deciding the daily safety and future of real children. Please choose.
Thank you. Now, you've already spoken,
No,
correct?
I understand y'all are money hungry, but can
you're
y'all do
done.
something about the AC? Because
Sit down, please. Thank you.
Brandy Dowda, followed by Mindy Wilson. Brandy Dowda, followed by Mindy Wilson.
I'll use my teacher voice. Good evening. Brandy Dowda, former librarian of Burris Elementary. Vote no. I took great pride at being part of such a historic school and being able to provide literacy opportunities to my students. Generations of children have attended Burris Elementary. The current principal is a former student. I noticed that the historical schools in Rice and Westview neighborhoods are not up for closure. So, if sitting on this board is part of a career or political agenda, I have bad news for you. You are nothing. Nothing, just another footnote in a long history of oppression and systemic racism. Your names won't even be remembered. There is no longer even the pretense that this is about democratic process or school improvement. But in the words of poet laureate Amanda Gorman, while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently deleted. Victory won't lie in place, but in the
Your time is up. Ma'am?
You were not chosen by the people, yet you presume to close schools that serve underprivileged communities, schools that anchor Black and brown neighborhoods, schools that are more than buildings. They are safe havens, they are community centers, and they are symbols of hope. When you shut these doors, you are not balancing a budget, you're saddling it in the backs of families who already carry the heaviest burdens. You are asking children to travel farther, feel less seen, less valued and less important. And let's be honest, these closures never seem to land in wealthy zip codes. Representation without accountability breeds injustice. You are going to make decisions that reshape entire communities. Then you should answer directly to those communities. Our children are not line items. Our neighborhoods are not expendable. It's clear you're afraid of us, and Houston will never forget, and we will never forgive you.
Thank you.
Camille Bro, followed by Sarah Rivlin. Could all remaining speakers come to the front row, please?
I'm reading for Maria Gueron, who is a mother from Port Houston who couldn't be here tonight. This is another part of her speech. We ask you, why are our schools closing? Many of our questions remain unanswered. You're clearly not thinking about the children. Have you thought about their routes to their new schools? Have you actually looked? Many children will not be eligible for bus service, and some routes are dangerous. Parents don't have transportation to take their kids somewhere else. They feel lost and don't know what to do, and you've given them no solutions. I tell myself that you must not know what you are doing is harmful, because how could you? How could you rush this? I also want to note that there's so many families that are not here tonight, and that feels like it's by design. This room would be filled if it were Travis or anywhere else. They don't have the ability to come here and tell you the hard truth. They don't have that ability, and you didn't give them that ability either.
Thank you.
Board of Managers, I know that you're
well-meaning people, and I know that you think you're doing what's best for the children of Houston. I know that you're trapped in an echo chamber that we are not privy to, and we don't know what you're going through. But I do want to point out to you that you were called in because of the scores of one school. And under Mike Miles, the changes that have been taking place are permanent. We cannot get these properties back. We cannot open these schools back. Mike Miles is treating HISD properties like an ATM machine. We lost 42% of our teachers in the first year of the takeover and 33% in the second year. Those teachers, maybe some of them will come back, but a lot of them won't. We now have 1 in 5 or more teachers are uncertified. That is on your watch. Please don't close these schools.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Darian Lewis. I am speaking on behalf of Mickey Leland's PTO. And tonight I've had the pleasure of watching this meeting, and watching as everything has unfolded has given me great pause, because there's not been enough detail expressing what will happen to Leland. Mickey Leland is an institution in the Fifth Ward community, and I ask you, as you sit on this board, to honor your fiduciary responsibility to our community and to our staff and to our students, to focus on the data. Transparent data is essential. We also need to have meaningful discussions surrounding the closures and the consolidations, like simple things like transportation, restrooms. Mickey Leland is an all-boys academy. It is not set up for a dual situation with boys and girls. We are a middle school and a high school. By consolidating, you're bringing not only middle school together, but high school students together. I ask that you really evaluate this data that you've been presented. Not every...
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Marty Page. I'm president of Super Neighborhood Independent Heights, precinct judge of 195, a member of the IHRC Council. Most importantly, I'm a proud graduate of James D. Burris Elementary School, where productive people are produced. Through the community partnership with Columbia Residential, we just broke ground on a 221-unit apartment complex at the corner of Yale and Cross Timber. That being said, I'm here to petition that you do not close James D. Burris Elementary. There are 3 viable, really simple solutions to this problem. Number 1, you increase our boundaries back to 16 in Cross Timbers and I-45 to Shepherd. At this time, our boundaries only go from Neyland to 45, which is a third of which our boundaries were at first. We also include that secondly, you return our formerly magnet programs. Our children don't want to go to a school that has no challenging and nothing fun to do. Return our ballet, return our children's choir, return our gymnastics, and let the band...
Thank you.
in an underserved neighborhood and reduce the pipeline from jails. Right now, we have more...
Thank you. Thank you. Your time's up. Thank you.
Hang on. Miles is aware enough to say that it breaks his heart that the schools affected by his proposed closures and co-locations are in Black and brown neighborhoods. But apparently he's not willing to admit that when the result of your action is further racial disparity, that is a racist action. I urge you to do the moral thing tonight and vote no on the whole consent agenda. For those of you who vote yes, shame on you. What's more, the 9 of you are here by temporary appointment on the pretense of pulling Wheatley High School out of a low state rating. As appointees who don't represent any of the families here tonight, you should not be making irreversible changes to their schools. Instead, you should vote no, leave, and let our elected trustees handle these decisions.
Thank you.
It's Black History Month. I'm Deanna, by the way. Do you want your legacy to be that you voted to close only black and brown schools? Mr. Miles will point to low enrollment, but there are small schools with different demographics that are not on the chopping block. Also, have you wondered why attendance is floundering and may have decreased more dramatically at the schools you're closing? Mr. Miles is responsible, as schools in the socioeconomically disadvantaged neighborhoods were the one where his unproven NES system was initially and more forcefully imposed. Children and parents are fleeing those schools and are helping bolster enrollment in the non-NES schools, who would see a decline otherwise as wealthier parents move their kids to private school. My son's seen many classmates leave, but they've been replaced by NES refugees. Board of Managers, you believe that you're helping children in our school district, but you're causing great harm instead. Start listening to parents, teachers, students, and community members, and do the right thing. Don't close these schools. These communities are already underserved, and you're making things worse. Listen to us.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're ready to move to Zoom speakers. Kristen Jones. You may begin. Ms. Jones, we can't hear you. Sorry, begin again.
You can't hear me?
Go ahead.
Okay. Members of the board, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Kristen Jones. I'm a parent and the founder of Neighbors in Action, which has been serving Port Houston families for 31 years. Port Houston Elementary is more than just a campus. It's an anchor in the community. Your governance framework states, the board ensures that the district planning and decision-making process enables all segments of the community, parents, and professional staff to meaningfully contribute. Port Houston and community leaders have been blindsided by this move to close the school. They have not been a part of the conversation. Now they are using their voices with courage and clarity. They are asking you to protect what is working. A school with a B rating, which provides stability and strengthens trust. Children learn best when they're emotionally safe, supported and rooted in a trusted community. Please listen to the parents and the community and reevaluate this decision tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chelsea Jordan, you may begin.
Good evening. My name is Chelsea Jordan, and I was an educator at Mickey Leland for 8 years. Mickey Leland's building was purpose-built to be a single-gender school. There are multiple boys' bathrooms, but one girls' bathroom in the entire building. This is an obvious example of HISD making decisions without explaining logistics. Renovations are not a simple option because the boys' bathrooms are regular-sized, and there's no space to physically put additional bathrooms. The district can't even fix the building's AC, which has been broken for over 5 years, but you're potentially suggesting that HISD will be able to do significant plumbing renovations in this time, in time to receive students in August. HISD is planning on sending girls to a school that only has one girls' bathroom, and I can guarantee you that HISD will not construct more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Von Bockel, please turn your camera on. Jessica Catrett, you may begin. Jessica Catrett, can you turn your audio on? We can't hear you. There we go. Okay, start again, please. We have an audio issue. Can you try again? Ms. Catrett? Okay, we'll wait till the back works on that. Anna Stone. Ms. Catrett, we'll come back to you in just a minute. Go ahead, Anna Stone.
Hi, my name's Anna. I'm a mom to 2 young kids, elementary school age kids. I've actually chosen to homeschool my kids because of HISD's education policies. I don't think it's a good idea for you guys to be closing these schools. You say you're going to be moving them to other campuses, yet these other campuses are also underserved. You're not talking about making improvements to these campuses. You've mentioned some of them have infrastructure issues as well, just not as bad as the ones that are being closed. It's not right to ask kids to move to a new school, have to reaccustom themselves to a new schedule, to a new layout, and then to also maybe in another couple years say, hey, this school's too dilapidated and now we're going to close this one too. You're not talking about making new schools to replace these ones you're closing. You're just talking about displacing children and making it harder on community members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Catrett. I'm sorry, we're not able to hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'm here in support of Burris Elementary. When I moved to Independence Heights, Mr. Woods was the principal. And even though I didn't have kids in school, I was always there. I went to a community conference at Burris. I voted at Burris. I met Burris students when they were out in the community, when the band would play or when the dance troupe would perform at local events. This is a school that received a national blue ribbon designation from the U.S. Department of Education when Mr. Woods was principal. And according to the DOE report, student performance skyrocketed from 50% of students passing the standardized math test to 100%. Same with reading. So what I'm saying is that this school is exemplary, both in terms of its academic performance and in terms of its role in the community. More students, I feel, should be routed to Burris, not fewer. To close this school is to destroy what this community has lovingly built over the last 100+ years.
Thank you.
Ms. Catrett, your audio shows it's on, but we can't hear you. I'm sorry, I think we have to move on. That concludes our speakers.
Okay, that concludes our hearing of speakers. Now we'll consider actions on the agenda. Board policy requires board members to abstain from all decisions, discussion, and votes pertaining to contracts that might involve conflict of interest. All board policy BBFA local defines a conflict of interest as any circumstance that could cast a doubt on a board member's ability to act with total objectivity with regard to the district's interest. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda by consensus? And you may have to get your computers back on, by the way, as well. Yeah, you have to sign in. Can somebody help him sign in? You hit my computer and then click on the screen. Click on the screen. Okay, we have a motion and a second. So, board members, please vote. The motion passes. This meeting is adjourned. Our next meeting is March 19th.